Hey guys, welcome to What You Requested Felony Friday, WYRF Friday, where we delve into the mysteries of true crime cases that you've requested, not just in my comments, but other true crime YouTubers' comments as well, which may or may not have been overlooked. So this story today was gotten from Brooke McKenna's comment by the name Laughing Corpse Holly 4136, saying, "Hey Brooke, I have a case suggestion for you. It happened here in my hometown in St. Cloud, Florida in 2019, and I really want her story told. Her name is Nicole Montalvo. It was really devastating for all of St. Cloud, and her story is not very well known. I've asked a few people to cover her case, but haven't gotten any responses. I hope you will. Even if she doesn't, I'm going to swim right in." Nicole Montalvo was born in 1986 and was married to Christopher Otero Rivera. They had one son called Elijah, or have one son called Elijah, who was 8 years old and was in school at the time that this case happened. So Nicole, nicknamed Nichi by people who knew her very well, especially her sister Christina, says that Nicole is a very sweet, kind, and caring mother. Like, she always made sure that she considered her family before anything else. Even the job she had, like working in the pizza restaurant, was to support her son. It's not like she really needed the job anyways. She also had a twin brother called Edward, whom she loved so much, and everyone knew that they were really close and how much Edward loved her. Nicole and her sister shared a room their whole lives, shared each other's clothes, and had all these sisterly and sibling fights that we all have normally within our own siblings at home. Unfortunately, Nicole's married life is nothing but a mess because abuse is constant in her household, and occasionally Nicole's siblings and friends see her with bruises and injuries anytime they ask her what happened. She will just say like, "Oh guys, it's work. It's just work." And obviously they weren't buying that. So there was a time she told her siblings that Christopher threw her on the wall, and that was the last straw for Nicole's family. They were like, we're not doing this anymore. You have to break up this marriage that you have with this dude. Like, even though for years they had begged her to leave Christopher, she never did. I don't know, they actually made an attempt to lure her away from him this time after she told them this whole throwing her on the wall thing. But like, I mean, I don't know if Nicole just loved him so much, or he had threatened her in case she does leave, because obviously like he was abusive, or if she just didn't want her son to be from a broken home. You know, it happens like that most times. But her siblings say her son was the one reason Nicole could never truly be free of Christopher. So Christopher starts dating other people while still being married to Nicole, not wanting her to be involved with anyone else, and still fighting Nicole for custody of their son at this point. Like, how narcissistic could you fucking be, Christopher? So Christopher grows impatient and wants Nicole to give in custody for him. But when it seemed like that was never going to happen, he lures Nicole in with help from his girlfriend at the time to a remote area, which I don't even freaking understand how he lured her, because I'm like, I couldn't get more details about this. I'm like, he lured her. Like, I mean, was it about, like, probably he used their son? I mean, I don't know. So anyways, he lures Nicole in with help from his girlfriend at the time to a remote area where Christopher slaps Nicole repeatedly and throws her to the ground. Through all of this, I'm wondering how Christopher's girlfriend at the time sees all this and isn't even fazed that her boyfriend at the time could do this to his baby mother, or even wife at that point. Like, wasn't it clicking that it could be her at any given point in time? Like, this man is a monster. So Nicole is badly beaten and gagged with a rag forced into her mouth, and then he tries to break her neck before releasing her from his grip and robbing her. Like, how do you rob your own wife? I mean, yeah, I know it's possible, but like, I mean, just sounds so weird. So Nicole, while still being weak and fighting to stay conscious after the most deadly altercation she had ever gone through, she's looking for her cell phone and she decides to call 911 and she tells the authorities about the attack. So Christopher is then arrested on charges of kidnapping and domestic abuse, but later pleads guilty to lesser charges, including battery and unlawful possession of a bank card. I wonder whose bank card that was, because I also tried to check, and was it like Nicole's bank card or was it another person's bank card that, like, I mean, they caught him with? I mean, most likely Nicole's, right? I think so. So after receiving credit for time served, he spends just 8 months in prison, and he's then released on probation. How unfair is that to Nicole? How freaking unfair. Just 8 months. Like, I mean, guys could give him like 3 years. For frick's sake. Well, the authorities made sure he had an ankle attached to him for extra measures, just for extra measures to keep Nicole safe. So they also go as far as making sure he can't contact Nicole except through a parenting app to make arrangements for their son, Elijah. So Nicole agrees to this because she believes it's important for her son to have a relationship with his father, even though the father in question is trying to do the exact opposite to her. After work, most times Nicole goes to meet up with some of her close friends, and then she confides in them that she believes Christopher and his dad, Angel Rivera, are plotting to get custody of her son. So she even tells them that at some point they had tried hacking her social media account to obtain a naked photo of her, which she probably had sent to Christopher in their earlier stages of dating. I'm not sure, because, like, I mean, she did tell her friends that, like, she had sent some explicit pictures to Christopher at the time when they were dating. So I'm guessing Christopher didn't have access to them anymore, so he was trying to use this to either blackmail her or use it as evidence in court that she was an irresponsible mother. I mean, I'm not sure, but, like, I mean, or embarrass her, or, like, you know, most likely court thingy, most likely going to be a court thingy. He was trying to, like, just win custody of. What Nicole didn't know is that they had also offered people money to plant drugs on her and worse, so that she gets caught by the police. But she never did. I mean, I don't know. She just never got caught. I mean, so on the 21st of October 2019, Nicole drops her son off to see his dad at his grandparents' home in St. Cloud, Florida. So the next day, she's due to pick him up from school, but instead, her father-in-law, Rivera, picks the boy up and tells the school authorities that Nicole had asked him to pick up her son. He even shows the authorities a text message that was supposedly from Nicole, and the text message reads, "I am with a friend that is going to help me get through this. Tell my son mommy loves him." I guess it's enough for the school authorities to let Rivera pick up Elijah. I mean, yeah, it is, like, I mean, it's a text from shown by the guy's granddad. So, I mean, I don't think I should blame the school. Like, but a few days go by, and now no one has heard from Nicole. Her friends and family start becoming really worried because they had tried reaching out to her and even going to her house, and no one just seemed to know anything. So they decide to file a missing persons case, and the first thing the police do is try to trace her job and the last person she had contact with. The police trace everything back to how she was supposed to pick her son up from school but didn't show up. So they asked school authorities, and they let the police know that Elijah's grandfather actually came here to pick Elijah up on request from his mother. That's, like, the person that we are looking for and you are looking for right now. And, like, you know, the school authorities were shocked. I mean, they're like, what? Like, wow. So the fact that Elijah was excited to see his grandfather made them believe there was nothing wrong with, you know, Elijah being picked up by his grandfather. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to blame the authorities because, I mean, you know, things happen, and I feel like if they didn't do it that way, they would have still tried to find another way to do whatever. So Rivera tells investigators that Nicole had sent him and his wife, Wanda, a text saying, and I quote, "I'm really sorry about everything. I should have listened to you. I made a bad mistake. I need you and Wanda to take care of my son for a few days until I get things figured out." I am with a friend that is going to help me through this. Tell my son mommy loves him. So investigators know that something is up because, for one, records show that Nicole's mobile phone had never left her father-in-law's home. And two, officers had already suspected that this message wasn't sent by Nicole. Because out of everyone, why would she tell the parents of the man who beat her black and blue and who she feels like are trying to take her son away from her? I mean, it's kind of sketchy though. It's kind of weird. Getting this information, investigators find part of Nicole's body buried at Rivera's house as well as another of the family's properties just days after she vanished. Her mutilated corpse had been burned and cut into pieces before being buried in the two locations covered in dirt using an excavator Rivera had rented. Christopher's ankle monitor also placed him at the scene as well. So Nicole apparently had gone to her in-laws' home for whatever reason, or most likely lured there, and she was ambushed, killed, and buried by the hands of her father-in-law and husband because she was an obstacle to Christopher gaining custody of their 8-year-old son, Elijah. They both pled guilty and blamed each other for Nicole's murder. What makes everything worse is that the evidence, despite being found on the family's property, is termed circumstantial. Like how? How? Like, I mean, sometimes this like court thing, lawyer thing, prison thing doesn't really make any fucking sense to me. Like, why is this circumstantial? Like, it's literally like her dead body in different parts were literally found buried in their home. How is that circumstantial? I mean, it is said that if Nicole had been killed at the scene, there would have been more blood. So Christopher's lawyer blames everything on Christopher's father since he controlled and manipulated things. So the prosecution says Christopher and his dad were willing to do anything to get Nicole's son. Witnesses even testified that they had been asked to plant drugs on Nicole and to do other horrible things, and they claimed they had been offered money to kill her. A crime scene technician describes a gruesome task containing Nicole's remains from the trailer in court. Nicole had been dismembered to a level she had never seen before, to the extent that she couldn't even specify how Nicole's body was killed. They just termed her cause of death as homicidal violence of unspecified means. Then, after a 2-week trial, the jury deliberated for just 90 minutes and the two Riveras were found guilty of all charges. Nicole's family gave speeches on how much they missed their loved one, Nicole. I mean, it was a really heartfelt and like touching thing, and like how brutal and sickening what Nicole's like husband's family did. I mean, it was like just so brutal and sickening. And like Nicole's twin brother in Edward said in court, like, my birthday would always be a sad day because it reminds me of Nicole. The judge sentenced the Riveras to life in prison with 20 additional years added to each for their charges of abuse of body and evidence tampering. Police then arrested Montalvo's mother-in-law, Wanda Rivera. Like, thank God. Like, I mean, most of the times when I'm researching these true crime cases, the person that's like just on the sideline, like, really never gets anything. Like, they never really get like punished. Does that make sense? And she should be punished because she's a freaking accomplice. So like, I mean, she's 59 years old and on charges of providing false statements to investigators and tampering with evidence, she was also sentenced to prison, but for a less number of years. So in September of 2021, Angel Rivera, who was sentenced to prison, died from COVID complications in prison. A couple of years after her sister's death, I'm talking about Nicole's sister, she became a primary prevention specialist for Help Now of Osceola. This is her way to fight her sister's fight. She said, I think any way that I can help honor Nishi, and it shows the strength that she had. Nicole's son is now being raised by his maternal grandparents. The little boy has lost a mom who died trying to get the best life for him. It's so sad to know that one day he's just going to grow up and learn that like his battle costs, his custody battle cost all of this. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments about this case. Let me know what you think. Let me know like, you know, any more recommendations and I will do that. Have a nice day.